with special guest Darren Wurz from Wurz Financial Services. Darren is a highly regarded professional specializing in financial planning for law firm owners. He is widely recognized as a published author and engaging public speaker. He is the best-selling author of The Lawyer Millionaire, the complete guide for attorneys maximizing wealth, minimizing taxes, and retiring with confidence. The book was also published by the American Bar Association. Quite the accomplishments. How are you, Darren?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
Indeed, I am excited to have you here.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is it like to be Darren?
What's it like to be Darren? Well, it's fun. It's exciting. I love the work that I do. I love the people that I get to work with. Working with law firm owners who are entrepreneurial, growth-minded. They're just a really fun and interesting group of people to work with.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about that for a little moment.
Yeah.
Why this profession before we get into the space?
Oh, the financial planning profession. Mm-hmm. Indeed. Well, it's been kind of a family tradition going back generations. My grandfather was a financial advisor. My dad was a financial advisor, and Dad always wanted me to come into the business, but I rebelled against that and wanted to do my own thing. So,
But it found you.
It did find me. I started out as a teacher. I did that for 5 years, but then it started to make more sense to me being a financial planner and having my dad in the business to help me. So I decided to change course, got my master's degree in financial planning, and opened a financial planning office. Yeah.
So 3 generations of financial planning professionals.
That's right.
Tell me about Dad and his excitement when you said, I'm dropping becoming a teacher and I'm going to just follow the family.
Well, I don't think he was expecting it. So
Pleasant surprise.
It was kind of like, hey, Dad, guess what? This is what I'm going to do. And, I'm from Toledo, Ohio, so I was grew up there, and Dad's there, and the whole family's there, but I had moved down to Cincinnati to start my career. So I was down in the Cincinnati area and said, Dad, I'm going to open an office down here. And I think he was a little shocked by that.
Okay. Well, listen, I love it. Let's talk about your passion for the legal community.
Yeah. Well, early on in my career, I worked with really anybody, and I struggled to find a direction in terms of a particular area that I wanted to focus on. Early on, I did a lot of networking, and I just so happened that I got to meet a lot of attorneys through networking. And I was challenged by a lot of people I knew and things I had read to find a niche, a practice area that I could really focus on.
Sure.
And so really all I did was look through my client list, and I found that I had a lot of clients who were attorneys already, and I decided that would be an interesting group to focus on. I did my research. I found that there weren't hardly any financial advisors focused on working with attorneys. So I said, well, let's do this. And, in the beginning, it just seemed like, maybe more of a marketing thing, to kind of say you work with a particular group of people. But as I got to meet attorneys and as I learned about the legal profession, I learned so much. And really it evolved from attorneys in general to law firm owners specifically. Because they have some very unique challenges that they face, being attorneys and being business owners. But then more than that, there are some common misbeliefs and some common myths and some common struggles that law firm owners have.
So, you touched on something that I just want to explore a little more. I don't want us to speed by that. You talked about, and I'm going to use this phrase because this is how I know it. There is a big distinction between the practice of law and the business of law.
Yes.
And to your point, when we talk about the business of law, lawyers are really great at what they do. They're great at litigating cases, but becoming an entrepreneur requires a different skill set, right?
Yeah.
So when you align your expertise to the lawyers that we're servicing, tell me, what gets you excited about, just taking them through that path?
Well, I really love the ambition. Sure. I love the goals and the dreams and the desires that law firm owners have, and that's what makes financial planning for law firm owners so different. Because it's not your traditional, I'm working a particular job, I'm going to save X amount of dollars, and I'm going to be able to retire at 65. It's a much different conversation. The dreams and goals that they have are often not achievable under their current circumstance. But that's okay, because we're planning for how they're going to expand the business and how their income is going to grow, and they're going to create new streams of revenue and all of that. So that's what makes it really exciting. It's a mixture of personal planning, which is what I was trained in and know all about as a certified financial planner, but then it's also business planning, and that becomes a key part of it, because the business and the personal side of things are so closely related and intertwined. And what makes us a lot different from a lot of other financial planners is we're able to bring in not just expertise in terms of personal planning, but also business planning, and bringing those two things together.
So Darren, your passion obviously is screaming. You decided, hey, I'm going to write a book.
Yes.
Let's tell our audience members about The Lawyer Millionaire, that complete guide that you put together. Let's start with the inspiration to write the book.
Well, the inspiration is simple. As I was trying to develop a practice working with attorneys, was looking for resources to help me be a better planner. How can I serve my clients better?
So this started with you first.
It started with me. And I did my research. I looked for books that were about financial planning for law firm owners, for attorneys, and there were very few. There were a couple that had been written, but they were really focused on the retirement phase, so Social Security and Medicare and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's great, but there's nothing out there in terms of how you build a business and how you create that wealth. Right? So I decided, well, what the heck? I'm going to write the book. You know what I mean? And so I said, I'm just going to take all the knowledge that I have, and I'm going to do additional research, and I'm going to put it all down on paper and distill it down into a DIY guide for law firm owners on how to maximize their wealth. And the cool part of the story is I approached the American Bar Association initially with the concept. At first, they weren't interested. They had some other projects they said were similar that were in the works. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just write it myself. It took me about a year to write the book. I came back to them with a finished manuscript, and I said, hey, would you be interested in publishing it? And they were delighted to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Darren, let's rewind back just a little bit.
Yeah.
You're done writing this book. You close the book and you say, all right, this is complete. How do you feel after that moment?
Well, I felt great. I felt fantastic, because after finishing that last chapter, I was like, oh, wow, I did it. You know what I mean?
Job complete.
I put this thing together. Now, I don't know about complete, because I am constantly learning. And even since the book came out, I have so many new ideas about how I can help law firm owners even more to be more successful. So stay tuned for either a corollary, a second book to come out, or a new edition at least at some point here in the future. So
we're preparing for this conference, and I know you're going to be a guest speaker at Raise the Bar in Atlanta, June 18th through the 21st. Talk to me about the first lawyer who you called when the book was completed, and what was their reaction?
The first lawyer, probably the first lawyer I called was Russell Cohn, who wrote the foreword.
Well, shout out to Russell.
Yes. And he was really, really excited as well. And I was excited to partner with him because he wrote the foreword for the book. And so I was excited to get that first copy out to him as well. But it's a great resource now to have and to share with others. And I think it definitely helps me in positioning myself. In speaking with attorneys, I can give them a resource that can guide them and help them.
So we're going to transition just a little bit and talk about the conference and preparation. What can our audience members, the lawyers, expect to hear from you? Yeah,
so this conference is first of all, very unique. because there are a lot of lawyer conferences, a lot of law firm owner conferences out there, but there's none like this that ties in the business planning and the business side of running and owning a law firm.
That's right.
With the financials.
Correct.
The taxes and the money side of things, right? And so that's Jaden's expertise. That's my expertise. We're going to be doing a joint session on tax planning. And one of the beautiful things about partnering with a CPA like Jaden is that you have a CPA and a financial planner both bringing their perspectives on taxes and saving and building wealth. And I think that's very powerful.
I couldn't agree more. I think it is very powerful. So, Mr. Lawyer, Mrs. Lawyer, if you are out there, this is a segment, a conference you don't want to miss. I know that your time is valuable, but this is one, as Darren just said, it's like no other conference. So, highly recommend that you register and you sign up. Darren, I cannot thank you enough for your participation, and we cannot wait to hear your segment.
Yes, I'm excited for it as well.
Awesome.